Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 8 of the Jackknife Racing.tv Formula 3 Championship. This week we are at Red Bull Ring, famous on iRacing for having mad off tracks. Actually quite famous in real life for having quite mad off tracks as well. In the booth with me, as usual, is Mr. Bruce McLeod.
Sorry about that. I was just updating our drivers, telling them we're going to see them all in pit lane based on the practice incident counts, which are through the roof.
100% true.
I think the lowest is single digits, and I won't say who. The highest is well over 60. It's only practice. So
Yeah, there's 2 on 4 and 1 on 8. They're the lowest 3.
Yep.
But practice is
So it's going to be fun.
Practice is where you do push the limits of the track, trying to find an extra 10th or 2.
Of course. So, Red Bull Ring, love this track. Short, sharp. One of the first in iRacing to implement the four-wheel off-track system, which means it's one of the tracks that gets abused. And what I mean by that is there is definitely time to be found if you push the track limit, and it's with wheels, not the center of the car, making placement even more important. Unlike last week, we definitely have some good overtaking opportunities on this track. That would be turn 2 at the end of the long straight up the hill. Turn 3, it's not really an overtaking place, but we'll see lots of action there, as we all see in real life in Formula 1 as well. And then also coming into the final turn on the last lap, come to the start, finish straight. Expecting lots of action in turn 1 as well on the start, but it's not really a passing maneuver, it's sort of one line through there, but that doesn't mean people won't try.
Yeah, I love this track as well, especially in downforce cars. But it's a lot of fun. It's got some nice sweeping corners, nice flow to it. Obviously, turn 1 turn 1 and turn 3 have really sketchy curbs on the outside, which could beach the low-riding F3 cars.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, right? The curbs on the outside of turn 1 could be quite interesting, to say the least. So yeah, we're definitely in for a cracker.
Yeah, so let's have a quick look at the points as we head into the final 2 rounds of the championship. Alan Kwan, 129 points, just narrowly leading René Helmut with 126, and then Amanda Vasquez Jr. still in the hunt massively, 124. So that front, anyone could still win that championship in the illustrious number 1 car for next season.
Yeah, René struggling with some wheelbase issues at the moment, some software challenges, so he's trying to relearn how to drive with the settings that he has, which is quite unfortunate. The software ecosystem, the Fanatec software ecosystem getting in the way, unfortunately. And that's the one weak point I found with the Fanatec gear, to be honest, is the software. It's just overly complicated and not simple enough, as we watch some people do some destruction of some cars for the cameras. But yeah, it's good hardware. I'm just let down by the software, unfortunately, as I'm going to quickly reload my paints, because all I'm seeing is some white cars, and I know that, John, you've got them all.
Well, both René and Helmut René and Marco are in white cars, to be fair. Sporting that Swede.ch livery.
No, because we have some new runners tonight, didn't have them, so Xander Rigg, Frederick Ramson, and Benjamin Langsteed were all paints that I did not have. So we've got some new boys joining the league, and some of them look to be quite quick.
Yeah, Xander looks very, very quick with that 6.6k iRacing. It's going to be definitely interesting as Benjamin is testing launches on the grass. It's a very special line to be trying. But here we go, straight into qualifying. Who will be out first? That'll be the key to seeing who gets that track position nice and early.
Right. Let's have a look at some boring static shots as everyone comes out of turn 1. John, what are you doing? Drive the cameras. Come on, Ira. Come on, SDK Gaming.
We're looking at the beautiful beautiful scene where we'll be starting this race later on.
You'll be looking at the backside of the bull shortly.
It's called cinematography.
Oh, hang on. I know the problem. The problem is I have not loaded the cameras. It's all my fault. Quickly solve that problem.
But Vincenzo Moroni, very quick driver. Caught in a few incidents last week. Got forced to do a little bit of a drive-through last week, which kind of took him out of the running, but he was very, very quick nonetheless in race 1. But we'll soon get into the action when these start to come over the line. They will have about 10 laps worth of fuel, which is enough to get the tyres up to temperature and some good speed out. But we are looking for some quick times from Vincenzo, from Zander, Alan Kwan, Rennie Helmut and Armando Vasquez Jr. If they can keep it on the track, that is going to be the challenge.
Yeah, staying on the black stuff will be interesting tonight. It's great to see such a large field. It'll be interesting to have a quick look as I'll just have a quick scan at the times on track and see where people actually are on the track. So are they actually staying together or are they not?
They're very spread out. Well, kind of spread out but together because it's not really a long circuit here. Vincenzo does have a nice little gap to Benjamin behind. I know it's not Benjamin behind, sorry. It is Daniel Nestorovic. He's behind, but he's got a little gap to the in front and behind as well. So drivers trying to find them ways into little bubbles. It'll definitely be interesting to see what times they start to throw up. No one on the display has purples, but I believe that currently is held by Rennie Helmut. That purple first sector, but he is a little bit too far down the order for the on-screen display to show.
Bring it up. Yeah, so at the moment, well, what I can see, Renee has the purple sector 1, Tom Lennox Brown has purple sector 2. It's all going to change as the next couple of laps come across, so we will see how we go. As Vinny draws first blood with a 25.6. 25.866. I don't think it's going to stand for very long. So, John, if you're in the seat right now, what's your strategy? Are you trying to run solo, or are you going to find someone that's faster than you and slot in behind?
Well, the key strategy on the start is definitely avoiding the collisions in turn 1 and turn 3. They'll be very, very tight with barely any room to squeeze 2 cars through on our first lap. And then it's kind of just playing to your strength. So you want to try and get behind someone after turn 3. Nice little chase down to turn 4. And then similarly, if you can be right behind someone on the exit of the final corner, and then have a little run behind them all the way down to turn number 1 again. That is probably the key locations.
What about quali? Are you going to try and run solo in quali, or are you going to try and go for the toe? What are you thinking there?
I mean, it's going to come down with the cars we have to who can find a way to be quickest, like Daniel Nestorovic. He is currently very quick. He's not in the toe, but he does have 2 purple sectors. So he's obviously driving well. Does he get off track there? No, he doesn't. So that's good track management there. Just about keeps half a tyre on that curbage on the exit there, and he's probably going to come home for a fastest lap. Yes, he does. 24.8.
Punch, counter punch. It's all changing at the top all the time. We had Vinny going first, then Renee took it from him, and then Daniel's come and put it down as well. So it's all happening. Seeing more purple from Vinny again this lap, as I'm sure we'll see him jump in. Time's dropping off pretty rapidly when we get down to P8. But I think the story of the moment, though, is the gentleman in P7, which is Alan Kwan. He's at the moment he's almost a full second off the pace. So our current championship leader has got a lot of digging to do to bring himself back up the order.
Yeah,
he likes to take a measured approach to qualifying, so let's see how he goes. John?
I was going to say, I think he struggles a little bit when the tyres are off temperature, so we're not going to see Alan's best till I think lap 4, 5, maybe even 6 at the short track. And back to what you were saying now, About qualifying, do you want to be behind someone? Maybe after the last corner, just to get a little bit of a toe to the line. But being stuck behind someone and catching right up is only going to hurt your time if you don't make the pass before the corner. Because Red Bull, very, very tight corners, but very flowing. But you do find yourself there's like 1,000 lines here for getting through corners, and you are going to probably trip over yourselves if you try and get too close after turn 3 down to turn 4.
It's interesting. It depends where you are. So I know if I was, in the back half of the field, so we definitely have, I wouldn't say 2 calibers, but a wide variety of skills in this league, which is great. Especially when it comes to the reverse grid racing, makes it really interesting. But if I was someone, down around P10, 11, 12, I definitely would be going, okay, let's sit behind someone and just basically get towed around. Speaking of getting towed around, Xander Reed has just punched his way to the top of the list with a 124.7, knocking off Nesterovic by just over a tenth. So, it's all changing at the top, and I think it's going to keep going for the next 10 minutes as well.
Yeah, but it's still very tight. We have our top 6 all within half a second of each other at the moment, and Nesterovic only is like less than a tenth behind Reed. So yeah, like you say, plenty of time to still go. Got half the session to go. The tyres will be coming into their own very, very soon, if not already. And it is just about keeping them. Alan Kwan already storming that first sector. Let's see what he can do as he comes over the brow into Rind. And then we go down.
PB in sector 2, matching the fastest time. So he's definitely on it for a good one here.
I think he's just had an off track on lap 4, so it's not going to count.
It would have been fast enough for P2 by 200ths of a session. So you are correct, that time didn't count, but the pace is definitely there. That unfortunate off track in the last corner really costing him.
As Reed goes fastest.
But the pace is there. That's just a question of, can Alan get that lap in clean whilst the windows are the tires are in the window.
Marco Honegger, he goes very quick there as well, up to P6 at the moment. Only half a second off. Alan Kwan, like you mentioned earlier, just fallen off a little bit. We'll jump on board with Tobias Trube. Doesn't necessarily get enough camera time during the race, so let's watch him as he conquers a lap of Red Bull Ring. Taking that nice and wide, just try and get the maximum exit as you go over the brow. And there's a little bit of a layout change from, I think, MotoGP here. There's a bit of a chicane halfway up here now, and then braking, trying to make that as wide as possible. Cutting back nicely, maybe takes a little bit too much curb on the inside, can damage your front wing if you're not very careful. Now we're coming down that, we call it the back straight down to Schlossgold. This is a very difficult corner. Like last week, there you go. If you can easily lock up because it's downhill, you need that extra pressure, which can just flip that car around on you. Xander Reed goes fastest again with a 124.5. So some great laps there by we call him the new Porsche driver, Xander Reed.
Great to see the diversity of manufacturers we have in this league. We have Mercedes, Porsche and Audi all represented as engine manufacturers in this league, which is great. Marco Honegger sets a fastest purple, sets a fastest sector 2. Of course it's purple because it's fastest, moving up to P3. Alan Kwan is on it again with a purple sector 1 this time, a full tenth faster than Xander Reed's time. So can Kwan do it as we watch a bit of racing going on in the back end? Marco Honegger's now done it. He's done a 20.9, so he's gone 2 tenths faster than anybody in that first sector. So this is going to be anyone. So I want to just give a quick shout out to Slavic Pev and Welsh Boy in the chat. So Welsh, you're the expert. I'd like you to please remind me which Formula One team ran the Adventure Time livery and what year.
I think that was the Kwan team in 2023.
Here we go. It comes across the line. Does he do it this time? He does, but it's only fast enough for P3 this time for Kwan with the 25.4. So he's a full half second off the pace. Marco Honegger, on the other hand, is on a cracker. We can see that in the bottom right of the screen. He may not have gone PB in Sector 2, but he's equal to fastest time. What can he do in Sector 3?
Fighting with the car though. There was complaints that the iRacing setup has too much understeer, sorry.
I think that's hurt him coming out of that.
See
And
what
it has...
It's his personal best though.
He goes up to P2. But that last 2 tenths that would have been cost him in that last corner is enough to keep him away from pole. It's all happening at the moment with 3 minutes left to run. So it's about 2 laps to go.
And Nesterovic just can't find that extra pace he had earlier on. Lennox Brown, he's looking for a good result. PB in the middle sector for Brown. Lennox Brown, let's see what he can do through the final sector. 2 very tricky corners because they are very quick, but it's so easy to go wide. That's not wide enough for iRacing to care. And there you go, just living on the edge of the grip, just a bit going through the final corner. And he comes across the line with a PB, goes up to P4, so great lap for him. Vincenzo Morone, he also sets a PB right after him and goes up to and takes that P4 right back. Xander Reed's going very, very quick. PBs, Sector 1, Sector 2, is that purple? Yes, it is. So Xander Reed absolutely flying.
And even though this is quali, and you have to keep it clean, I just noticed that the total incident count for the entire field is almost at 100.
Yep, 2 of them have double figures.
What's interesting though is the current pole sitter only has 1. So once again, showing clean racing is fast racing.
It's definitely going to be. It's going to be interesting that Auto Steward, see what happens, because they do have, just a reminder for people watching at home, it's 10x on our systems for a drive-through and then 20x for a stop-go. However, we are generous, and every 3 minutes, if you go without an incident, the software will redact an incident off you, or remove an incident off you, sorry. So you do get to reward yourself back incident points with safe driving. So it's not all's not lost if you make it a 4x gentle contact on lap 1. As they go, I was going to point out, Xander Reed, sorry, Langstead just locking up that inside right because of the way that corner just drops off. So you're effectively trying to brake hard going downhill, and then you also lose 1 point of grip.
I don't know how he's done it, but Tobias Trube has done a 15.6 second third sector to take the purple, whereas the actual fastest is a 26.7. So he's found a shortcut somewhere through the track. Obviously that lap's been thrown out, but...
maybe he's a chosen one.
The chosen one?
But that is quite a drop. Maybe he's just jumped in the pits and it's like Bathurst where he cuts it off early.
Alright, so we've only got 4 cars out on track still. So I think it looks like our running order with 40 seconds left to go. It looks like all our... apart from... no, Nesterovic is still going actually. I was going to say apart from our top... the guns have been put down and the shooting match is over, but Nesterovic is still out there.
He's not going to finish though, he's too far back. I'm questioning if even Jacob will get over the line in the right time. 20 seconds to go, and 3 more corners heading down now towards Rindt. Is there going to be enough time? 10 seconds to get around. It's not enough. So this is the final classification. Xander Reed will be on pole. Marco Honegger will be P2 and Nesterovic P3. As everyone gets removed very quickly from the grid. Save the planet. Don't let them do any more driving.
All right, Xander Reed from Texas takes pole position with a 1:24.5. It's an amazing time. Marco Honegger, representing Swede Racing, the lead of the 2 Swede drivers, because of course Marco's better than his teammate Salty Toad. In P2, Nesterovic in P3, Moreno in P4, Tom Lennox Brown in P5, Alan Kwan only managing our current championship leader, only managing 6th in that event. Rene Helmet in P7, Armando Vasquez Jr. also flying the flag for Texas in P8. Frederick B, I'm not going to try and pronounce it off the top of my head, but yes, I will. Let's try and do it.
Rasmussen.
Frederick Rasmussen in P8, P9 Henrik Anderson, Kees van Leeuwen P11, Vinicius Scriber in P12. Continuing down the grid, 13 is Jacob Blond, Tom Van Duffel in P14, Tobias Drew P15, Benjamin Langstead in P16, and Jorgen Rigtrup rounding out the grid in P17. It's not bad to be last, someone has to be there. Tell me I know.
Well, you completely butchered Jurgen's name.
Jorgen Rigtrup.
I didn't realise earlier that Rasmussen works on the list but not on the grid.
Interesting.
So the gridding has started.
What's the carnage?
4 lights, 5 lights, and away we go. Looks like Vinny gets locked down. Langstead, is that Langstead who gets spinned at the back? Yes, it is. Don't know what happened there. It's going to be interesting. It looks like there's some chaos already.
Not as much chaos as I was expecting, to be honest. We'll go back and have a look at that in a minute as we all come up to 2P2. The action's definitely not over as we got some 3-wide action.
Marco Honegger making a move on Nesterovic. So it was Xander Reed was caught up in some incident at the beginning. Looks like Lennox Brown spins at the exit of turn 3 as well. And look at this drag race between Honegger and Nesterovic down towards turn number 4. Marco pushes.
I thought Honegger had a poor run there, but obviously he didn't. He's obviously holding off Nesterovic as they come into in towards as Darren Parts loves to refer to as the bull's ass section, where you can get a lovely view of the back of the Red Bull statue coming to the complex as Nesterovic goes massively wide there, picking up that off track, pushing too hard. But notice who is in P3 right now.
Mr. Kwan, followed closely by championship rival Vasquez. Just trying to work out. René Helmut still down in P7, so he has another fortuitous first lap as we get some nice close action. Look at that, almost losing the rear end there from Vasquez.
Marco Honegger trying to stamp his authority with his one move. Oh, we see a passing move here. Oh, an easy take on the straight there from Reed, Xander Reed passing Vasquez.
Is that René Helmut out on the grass? Yes, it is. It looks like another spin at the back. Tom Van Duffel. We expected big things this week.
He's just trying to place himself well for Heat 2. As we come around again, the start of Heat 2, have a look at our field go through. So let's quickly run through the order. We've got Honegger leading from Nesterovic, Kwan in 3rd, Xander Reed trying to make his way back through the pack in P4. Vasquez, then Helmut, Rasmussen and Anderson holding up the top 8 with a good run from him as we watch a move
from Scriber.
Bring it down the inside of Anderson.
Marco Honegger's lost a couple of positions. So what exactly happened to Marco Honegger? He finds himself falling down the order.
Let's have a look. Here we go as he comes into the 3rd turn. I forget what the exact name is.
Lock up,
which runs wide.
It's turn 4.
Safely rejoined. In turn 4.
Right.
Also known as Bull's Ass.
It's Schlossgold.
A Bull's Ass. You see what I mean? You'd be going to look up. All right, coming into it's only lap 3.
Oh, right, plenty of movement. Trying to get. Is that he's trying to hold off Xander Reed, Marco Honegger? Okay. Can he hold it? Is there going to be contact? Xander just pulls out enough. That's some good driving by Xander. Calculating it's better to just stay behind and take the run up towards turn number 3 through that small kink that shouldn't really be a corner name.
So that's true. Xander is fast, but these boys in this league, they definitely know how to fight. They don't just lay over.
Some great driving there by Xander. Keeps it nice and tight, pinned to the apex. That is good respect of the rules, that is for sure.
Yep, Marco's fully aware that he's going to let him have it.
Marco locks up again.
I think, was it going to be a Red Bull on Mercedes moment again? Xander's all over the back of Honegger. I feel like it's only a matter of time, but Marco is going to do everything he can to keep him behind. takes a slight tighter entry.
Switch back from Xander Reed, but not enough track to get that full switch back going. But can Xander carry the speed down to Rindt?
The big question is, can Kwan get enough of a gap while this is going on to slightly pull away? So Nestorovic is just doing the job out front. He's just, once he's been given the sniff of that lead, he's just eyes down. We have a look. Xander's making a move on the outside this time.
As my my mouse figure twitched and clicked the left mouse button.
It was too easy. Got the run out onto the start-finish straight and just went to the outside. There's nothing Marco could do.
So Vincenzo's in the pit lane, obviously from the start. So much has gone on. I completely forgot to see what happened at the beginning. How did everyone get past Xander Reed at the front?
We're going to have a look, or is it going to take too long to spool back?
I literally can't see it.
That's a no. The joys of iRacing and lots of action on track. Oh, Marco's not giving up without a fight as he's following Xander in. We go on board with driver's eyes of Marco Honegger following Xander Reed around.
Yeah, drivers have complained about understeer around here in this iRacing setup. They're saying it's a much more understeery than you'd expect from the normal F3 pit fix. Jürgen Richtrup has had a crash. He's currently running in P15, but it looks like he's moved again, so maybe just coming to a halt as Marco goes very wide there, gets it off track. Tobias Troop gets a slowdown. So Alan Kwan sets a fast lap, immediately broken by Xander Reed. So a nice little battle that's going to be coming up at the front soon. But look at that, the top four, well, briefly, the top four were all in tow range of the cars ahead of them. So it's definitely looking. What's happening to Jacob Larson? He's had a boop with the wall in turn one.
He got very lucky there. The lightest. No, don't. I was going to say just the lightest of taps and almost put it back into it again. But one thing I love about these shots that we're seeing, John, with these cameras is you can really see the undulation in the track and the change in altitude. You can see the compressions and the elevation changes. You can really show the fact that this track is built on a hill. I think it's interesting too. I'm going to have to post-race go and do a bit of digging just to double sure that there is a way, especially I'm thinking of these corners that we're coming into after this section. As you come onto the start-finish straight, if you get an off-track, but not, and I'm talking about a tactical off-track here, but what did he say?
What?
Oh, he's asking. Oh, don't worry. I've just had a request to let him know. I'm just going to give we've had our first call from a competitor.
Let's see what their X limit is. Xander Reed once again breaks the fastest lap while we let Bruce do that. He is catching Alan Kwan. He's only half a second now. It's going to be perfect range to be in the tow. But Nestorovic is not out of the woods yet because Alan Kwan is bearing down on him in that number one car. Xander Reed obviously very new to the league, only joining this week, so he has a 42 in his car. But I do see a bright future for Xander if he sticks around. Nestorovic doing a little bit of weaving, which is allowed until the braking zone, as long as it's not ridiculously excessive, and then he will get a warning over race control. Because we don't mind him trying to break the tow as long as it's a safe and a fairly realistic manner. But Xander Reed is trying to do everything he can to catch Alan Kwan ahead. Marco Honegger back in the tow. So Marco just needs to bide his time.
What number is Rene?
Rene is number 2.
So I didn't tell Rene. I told someone else what Rene's number was.
And Vincenzo Moroni once again having a bad week. Just can't seem to find his rhythm this season. He was really, really competitive in the first season he joined, which was last season. But this season he's just found a little bit of a performance dip. Just hasn't found had the tracks running to his favour.
Can you put the camera on Renault for a second, please? Thank you.
So Xander Reed has now overtaken Alan Kwan for P2. Looks like they're heading down through turn 2 into that turn 3 chicane. Yeah, he just had the move done. He was so far alongside, and we know he can control it through that corner, nice and easy.
So interesting challenge. You can change the car now.
Is that what?
So is that when our broadcaster changes cars, and I'm trying to PM someone, it changes the car that's selected, so I picked the wrong car.
You can do it in race control as well, you know.
Oh, I know, but so it looks like the incident count may not be going down.
Marco Honegger, he is now chasing down the reigning champion, Alan Kwan. And we've had one retirement, sorry. Vincenzo Moroni has quit. He's not finding this place to his best. Xander Reed with the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:24.77. That is 5/10 quicker than Nesterovic's fastest lap. Sorry, no, 4/10 quicker than his fastest lap. So Xander Reed versus Nesterovic is going to be such a fun showdown. 6.6k I rating versus 4.5k. Who is going to come out on top, because we know Nesterovic can really move that car around.
So we go on board with Xander Reed. John, can you just quickly check your auto steward settings and the...
Oh shit, it's not on. It's not on.
It's not going down.
Oh yeah, just do a general note, say off tracks are not counting this race. I haven't switched the auto steward on, so I don't want to spam people with messages.
Should I tell them that, or just tell them not to worry?
Whatever you feel is appropriate. Lennox Brown, obviously he's trying to recover from that earlier spin, right on the back of that's Kees van Leeuwen. It's good to see him back after a couple of weeks break, just holding his own at the moment. He's now definitely in that draft behind. Is it going to be enough? Because Kees is very quick in these F3 cars. Once again, possibly a little bit of an underperformance from Kees's usual standards, but hopefully he'll be coming back next year nice and strong, or next season nice and strong.
Okay, I'm not going to give away details of who or what, but if someone gets a DT that shouldn't, I will just
it looks like Xander Reed has finally passed Nesterovic. Let's see what happened. Was it a mistake, or was it just pure pace as we go? That's turn 3. Nesterovic, I just can't carry the speed going so narrow, and Xander Reed picks him off like a professional.
Yep. So what you're saying is I rating actually is an indicator of outright speed.
It is when they drive the cars it's related to. I think Xander does drive this a lot. I think Nesterovic, I think he's more of a what's it called? A multi-discipline driver, but he does like the F3 as well. Doesn't know how to control it. Since he's come in the league, he's been very, very competitive. It just took him a few weeks to try and get that raw pace into consistency.
It's really interesting, isn't it? As I'm just checking how long we've got to go. We're currently on lap 10. I've had to turn the standings off, so I'm going to put those back on right now. It's interesting how, you have people in the league that are fast and outperform a lot of people, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and the whole Apple car just changes. So I was thinking back to season 1 where we had, Mattis Mattinson, who was a level above the competition, and I think what we're seeing now, the likes of Alan Kwan, Xander now joining, Daniel Nesterovic, we're seeing a definite lift in the stand at the front of the fields, to the point where our season 1 champion, no, season 2 champion, Rene Helmut, is actually struggling to be competitive at the front of the field. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to be competitive for the championship, because consistency matters quite a lot, but it's interesting to see how, in this race, someone who a couple of seasons ago would have absolutely dominated is now actually pushing real hard just to stay in touch in fifth.
Yeah, there's definitely a change. And to be fair, when we talk about some people, Vasquez, when he first came in, he was a magnet for off tracks, spitting on the grass, but he really tightened it up through the earlier rounds. He got some really good results, found himself third in the championship. He's going to drop a little bit of traction towards Alan Kwan, but he was only, I think, 4 or 6 points before the weekend behind Alan Kwan, so it's a massive improvement from Vasquez as well.
Yeah. So just keeping an eye on the off-track counts. They're all looking very reasonable, clean and tidy, so there's nothing to concern ourselves with at this point.
Only one person would have got a penalty so far.
And even then, I don't think they would have, given the number of laps that they...
Yeah. Rene Helmut gets overtaken by teammate Marco Honegger. I think they were just fighting all the way up that back straight down to turn 4.
Yep.
So Marco's lost a little bit of pace. I don't know. He didn't get a slowdown, so Rene Helmut's just trying to do everything he can to not drop too far behind Alan Kwan. Or maybe some team orders. Maybe some team orders.
I think they should invert the livery. I think green with white would be a lot better looking than white with green.
But Marco Honegger, can he regain his position? He's only taken part this weekend because he doesn't want to be level with a safety car on points.
Well, I'll have to bring the safety car out a bit later on. I think what's interesting is that what we're seeing here is that particular person that would have got to drive through, when it wouldn't have affected the results at all anyway. Tom van Duffel is back out after a long time in pit lane.
Yeah, so Lennox Brown finally ran away past Kees van Leeuwen. Oh, almost coming together as he head down. I think that's to turn 4. But a good pass by Lennox Brown keeps it nicely stuck to that inside line on the apex. So even if there was contact, he did all he needed to do. As per the regulations.
Yep.
Marco Honegger has gone off track again. He's going to have to be careful. Rasmussen, I mean, it's going to be hard to get 5 seconds off, but you never know. Stranger things have happened in this league, especially last season at Sonoma, when Alan Kwan actually announced his return with an amazing chase of the leader. I think he was down 40 seconds as the leader had to fuel save, and then Alan Kwan ended up winning it at the end, announcing his appearance at the championship. Marco Honegger risking it all on this race, so definitely very interesting, as the race has now kind of split up, and the top 3 not too far apart, but far apart enough. Xander Reed will be looking pretty in his cockpit at the moment.
So there's another. So based on that photo, if you can just do me a favour and just jump down and have a quick look at the LP10 driver Henrik Anderson. So I'm just doing a driver photo comparison here. So who's winning the male model?
It's got to be Henrik. He's got the sunlight flares off his shoulder, off his head.
If you get a Nesterovic, if you jump back up to a driver in P2, that's a pretty impressive photo there. You've got the
that's a passport photo. That's a passport photo before they get it stamped on the passport and it ruins all the integrity.
I tell you, that's not a passport. You haven't seen my passport if you think that's a passport photo. Jeez, man. Swear to God. Come around.
That's the photo you send in to the authority, and then they ruin it when they put all the holograms on top.
That's hilarious. All right, we're coming around. This is going to be our white flag lap. The big question I have is why is Slevin Tevin sitting in chat and not in a race car?
Because he's still busy. He's still a busy man.
I know, we all are. As we're now seeing... coming onto the white flag lap, so we've got Reed, a second over Nesterovic, who's 2 seconds over Kwan, and another 2 seconds back to Helmut. Sorry, so it's 1-1-2 from the Delta point of view. You can see that little bundle on the map of these podium sitters sitting there.
Yeah, it started off, everyone's so very close at the beginning. And as the race goes on a little bit, it's not quite as exciting as it was in the previous 2 weeks. With the first race being absolutely nail-biting with the top three. But saying that, they're still very, very close. Any small mistake on this final lap could cost the driver hugely.
But you know it's about to get exciting, don't you, John?
What?
Reverse grid heat 2.
I mean, Xander Reed has already proved he can carve his way through a field. Alan Kwan started quite far back in race 1 and managed to get himself through the field. So
yeah, but my safety car sense is tingling.
Well, we might actually get one this race.
You mean one that can stay on track?
No, I was meaning it might actually get deployed when I don't know if we still have safety cars and auto steward, but well, here we go. Xander Reed, your winner as he crosses the line, and then we got Nesterovic and Kwan.
Get him in the booth. Although we have a very thin, thin number of people in Discord. As the
P3 is in the booth, in the green room, ready. We just see everyone else coming across the line. There's P12 of Tobias Trube. We will finish as Scriber next. And then P14, Jürgen Rigtrup.
Well, we've got P3 in the booth, so I'm going to bring Alan in. And we'll have a chat while we wait for the others to make their way across. Mr. Kwan. A good solid result from you in that one. How was that from your seat? Can't hear you, Alan. Is that because John has you turned down? So you're talking, but I can't hear you.
I don't control how you hear Kwan.
Can you hear him?
No, I can't.
That doesn't help. All right, I'll just pop you back, and maybe we can get that sorted in a second. I can see your voice bubble moving, but I can't hear you for some reason. I'll just quickly move you back to the green room. What we'll do is we'll grab in our race winner, Xander, and we'll welcome him to the...
Hi.
Hello, Xander.
Hey.
Welcome to the broadcast. I see you found the green room for the commentary booth. That's an absolute dominant performance from you working through the field. So a way to stomp your welcome to the league. It's happened before. It'll happen again. How do you feel about this reverse grid heat 2? How are you feeling about that?
It should make things interesting. It'll be able to show give everyone a fair chance to take the race win.
So odds are that we might see a safety car come out in this one, just based on past experiences. But definitely, you've definitely thrown the gauntlet down. And I say not the first to do it. When Mr. Kwan joined, he did the exact same thing. But we'll interesting to see. We've got the remainder of the championship to roll out. Definitely looking at some exciting fun at the front. Good luck for the next one, and we might see you back here after that one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Xander. Moving back to the green room. Grab in. Daniel, how you going?
Hey.
This obviously you like this track, or this track likes you.
No, but yeah, it was good. It was good.
So you definitely laid the pace down early in qualifying, and you had a good first crack at this race until Xander decided to get things together and come through the field. Any hope of keeping him behind you?
I was actually looking forward to the battle with him, but I got a slowdown, so that's why he got it pretty easy to pass me. And from then on, I couldn't keep the pace anyway. So, but yeah, that slowdown really, I was looking forward to a battle. So I'm looking forward to the next race.
Well, we're looking forward to battles. We're looking for the next race, and hopefully we won't see an appearance of the automated safety car. Best of luck for the next one, Daniel. We'll see you then. I'll move you back to General Comms. So there we go. Unfortunately, we couldn't speak to the Quan. Don't know what's going on there. But I think it's interesting for Alan is he's in this position now where he definitely is thinking about the championship as the leader. So yes, wins are nice and everyone wants to get them, but definitely a solid points haul for him as we sort of wind this one down. Now, John, I just want to confirm that we are tweaking some settings on a certain piece of software for the next one.
It's less tweaking, more turning it on.
Good.
Because obviously we don't want the warnings and the spam to be going out when they're doing practice and quali. So I keep the setting off, and then I mean to turn it on the start of the race, and I completely forgot.
I'm just trying to find where is the PM driver button here.
I think you click an incident and click notify. I think that DMs them.
Let's just do. Nope, that adds the incident report.
Yeah, so click notify on the driver.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. So if they go off track, we can do it that way. Interesting.
Yes.
Well, I can just click on the driver and click notify.
You can.
There you go. I'll just have to do a test. Who's on track right now?
No, but Nesterovic is.
Nesterovic.
He doesn't speak in game now, so he won't be able to tell you. But race 2 will be coming at you with 28 laps, obviously a 40-minute roughly amount of minutes. There will be a mandatory pit stop, which will be happening around about, I think it's turn 10, if I'm correct. No, sorry, I'm wrong. Between lap 13 and lap 16 will be the rough window. Give or take, who can fuel save a little bit, and the differences between the calculated fuel and what the iRacing you actually burn in iRacing, because you can't really do change the setups with like 0.6 of a litre or whatever.
That definitely did not work.
Looks like Nesterovic trying to get off the line much quicker. As we getting ready for race number 2.
All right, as we head into our feature with our reverse grid, we've got Keith Lewin on P1, Lennox Brown on P2, Rasmussen P3, Marco Honegger P4, Rene Helmut P5, Quan at P6, Nesterovic P7, Xander Reed down to P8, and then the reverse grid stops. We have Vasquez Jr., Henrik Anderson, Benjamin Langsteed, Tobias Trube. As we roll over the page, we've got Vinnie Scriber, Jordan Rigtrop, Jacob Lund Larson, Tom Van Doffel, Vincenzo Morone rounding out the grid, but he won't be joining us, and I don't think Tom will be either.
As we have started the gridding process, lights are coming on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lights out, and away we go. Everyone gets a much better start this time, at least. As we try and stay like mid-pack, plenty of pain to happen at this first corner. Can they keep it nice and clean? Possibly a little bit of spin in the background. There's an A4X for Rennie Helmut and Xander Reed, but I don't think anyone else died. Which is good to see. Look at that, 3 wide going into turn 3. That's a suicide mission there from Marco Honegger, but he does it. He somehow managed to get past. And Alan Quan down to P5. You don't see that often. You don't see him not making moves right at the beginning. Xander Reed falls down just a little bit. Let's see if we can see any damage on their cars. It wasn't an official crash, so SDK has not told me. I'm just trying to look at Rene and Xander Reed at the beginning. If there's any serious damage, doesn't look like it on my end.
Yeah, that looked pretty fairly clean. So Tom Lennox Brown still holding onto that lead out in front, with Marco Honegger all over the back of him, as we can see in that shot. Rasmussen also lining up the back of P2, so is Frederick going to have a think about it? Maybe not, as we watch the cars come in. And we can see Xander Reed making a move on Quan. So Alan Quan dropping down.
Yeah, he's not managed to get them tyres going at the beginning of the race. Vasquez going very wide. But continuing for now, Honegger has found issues. Sorry, he was just neck and neck, with Rasmussen. And Honegger goes for a journey, and that is a 1x as well.
Now, another interesting thing here is like he's no silly man when it comes to racing the sim in these races. So he could very much be playing the long game here, looking after those tyres, letting the boys out in front run hard, knowing that the race will come back to him. It's 28 laps. It's a long way to go as we watch Vasquez put a move on helmet. Xander Reed now up into P6. Oh, no, dropped down to P5. As they're going side by side into the Mercedes Red Bull corner.
The Mercedes Red Bull.
Yeah, so what's happened to Ramondsen? He's dropping down the order like a brick from a 2-story building.
He went off track. I'm sure you can tell that much. He just gets a bit too much on the outside. Oh, he's very lucky he gets that car rotate. Oh, I say that, but then he was too eager to get back on the throttle.
Maybe. He's running an Oculus, that's his problem. If the photo is accurate.
Nesterovic getting chased down once again. The resumption from race 1. Xander Reed is on the chase behind Nesterovic. Can Nesterovic win the battle of the wits this time round?
So this is the battle that he said he wanted to have last race, but was denied because of a slowdown. Let's have a look as I just eye up the incident count. And I'll just keep an eye and see if things go down or not. Let's have a look as we're watching Xander come down the inside of Nesterovic relatively easily. Xander having a look on the outside.
These two giving a lot of entertainment. Trying to battle. Nesterovic can't quite get it done. He's going to be right of the rear end of Xander Reed's number 42 though. So
it looks like Daniel can go and teach the Red Bull driving school. He knows when to back out, unlike some Formula 1 drivers.
I mean, at Red Bull Ring, you're criticising the wrong team, I'm sorry.
Am I now? I'm pretty sure that it was the car on the outside that always died, and there's a simple answer. If you know that happens, don't do it. I'm not saying don't have a crack. I'm not saying that the driver was in the wrong, but I'm saying the consequences of trying that maneuver is super high risk with low reward. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying who was at fault. Yes. Why are you sitting in there and not sitting in here?
Why am I opening the iRacing? Alan Kwan is currently down in P6 behind a familiar car. That's Kees van Leeuwen, half a second behind. What can he do in the chase down to turn 3? Probably nothing right now. Nesterovic once again gets the better of Reed, but Reed comes back on the cutback and overtakes again. These two playing an amazing battle throughout the race so far. We're only on lap 4. Hopefully this continues to the end, because this is the kind of racing we love to see. And look at that, Nesterovic right outside, and Reed showing you how you go down the inside without murdering your opponents.
Yeah, maybe back, and Nesterovic backs out again. You know what this is aimed at sizing up for, don't you?
Murder.
So Renee Helmet had a meatball.
Oh no, not meatball.
I just noticed.
When did he get a meatball?
Lap 4.
Oh, we're gonna do this. Does this jump back to lap 4? I don't know. That's a cleared the meatball flag. Don't know actually when he received the meatball flag.
He entered the pits on end of lap 3, so it would have been on lap 3, but I'm just scrolling back through the history.
I don't see when he got given a meatball, just when he cleared it.
He entered the pits on lap 3, so it would have been before. Anyway, he obviously has had an accident that we missed, and not that we'd like to revel in the misfortunes of our drivers, but that's put Rene way down behind the field.
And that is going to be crucial with Vasquez being in P8. That's going to be some good points. He could overtake Rene again. Alan Kwan still trying to find a way past Kees van Leeuwen in to get that P4 position. Daniel Nesterovic, sorry, the P5 position. Nesterovic now losing a little bit of ground on Reed, while Lennox Brown holds out Honeyger by 1.3 seconds.
So meanwhile, we haven't given them much airtime, but down the back of the field, there's an awesome battle going on with Tobias Trube and Henrik Anderson. Henrik right up the back end of Tobias Trube. So there's battles all up and down the field, as we will see, as I say, every week with this league. The action is not limited to the front, as Marco Honeyger gets an off-track coming onto the start-finish straight. You can see my little flash of red there on the track map.
Yeah, Alan Kwan still trying to do what he can to try and overtake Kees van Leeuwen, but is losing a bit of time just through the mid sector, sector 2 as most people would probably call it. Sander Reed pulling out a little bit of a gap now to Nesterovic, while Reed is a second behind Honeyger.
I'm just looking at this timing screen, looking at that pace. Xander Reed pulled 4/10 out of P2 on that last lap to get a purple. He's definitely not holding back at all at the moment.
As Vasquez and Langstead trading positions briefly. Looks like Langstead just been on the outside line, managed to get the loud pedal down the quickest. Vasquez is not giving up. Let's see what he can do. It would be nice to see Langstead get a good finishing position. He's had a bit of bad luck since he joined the league, a little bit of a lock-up, but he was lucky enough that he forced Vasquez to go around the outside rather than down the inside.
So the pace is all pretty even at the top, with one exception. So Xander Reed well into the 24s in that last lap. Everyone else around the 25.3s. Nesterovic with the 25.1, so he's trying to stay in touch and also pulling out that gap just a little bit on Van Leeuwen. Kwan a little bit slower again, even with a PB of a 25.5. So Alan definitely hasn't got the raw pace of the people in front of him this race, but again, is he playing that long game? Looking after those tyres.
Yeah, it could be. He has mentioned that the tyres have started to go off towards the end of races. So maybe you might be right. He's just trying to play it a little bit smarter.
So just got to make a comment. Sim racing is the game of life, Gesk. Don't know what you're talking about.
He likes to dance and leave his friends behind.
He does. So Kwan gets that move done finally. Now starts to chase down Nesterovic. Just having a quick scan at the...
Nesterovic has lost a lot of time, just to interrupt briefly. He lost a lot of time to Xander Reed, and Xander Reed has made a lot of time up to Marco Honeyger ahead. And this is going to be an interesting battle because Marco can defend fiercely. We've seen him do some amazing things in the F3 car of keeping a fast car behind. But Red Bull, like you mentioned on the intro, is a very good track for allowing overtakes.
This section here, I was just going to point out, there definitely is a tactical off-track there, that if you take it going into the first of the right-handers, you can use it significantly to benefit. Depends on the qualifying scrutiny as to whether that's actually legal or not, but on lesser low scrutiny levels, you can definitely get an advantage by doing that. So it'll be interesting to see if that rule gets pushed. I don't think it has been yet. So we can see Reed is right up the back.
Marco's allowed in the inside. Unless Marco does an amazing switchback, this could be a position gone for Marco Honeyger. Which I think it is. Alan Kwan, a second behind Nesterovic. Kees van Leeuwen trying to come back at Alan Kwan now. Henrik Anderson, he's had an issue earlier. He must have spun. Let's see what happened to Henrik because he's now down behind Jürgen Rigtrup. So it looks like we're going into turn 1. Tobias Trube, one stop position back. He is alongside, just enough out to clip. So that'll be interesting to look at later on. Though we do have 2 weeks to police.
Bloody overlays. move some things because the my PM driver is right underneath the standings. Tad annoying.
It is indeed Keith Van Leeuwen. He is still trying to fight back that position. He wants that position back off Alan Kwan. He said, I've been missing a few weeks, Alan, and we'll let you run wild, but now I'm back. And the Ferrari is ready to pounce. Though actually the Ferrari in real life seems to have some good reliability in the, obviously the brief 2 days of testing. Looks like their reliability is a lot better than it was last year. It was hard to get worse, to be fair. The engines were catching on fire all the time.
So, Lucas, question, what was our limit set to again from an incident point of view?
10 is a drive-through.
I'm expecting someone in pit lane shortly. That's all I will say.
So Rene being Rene, there's, I think he's got the talent to come back. He is very, very quick, usually in the F3 car. I'm not sure he particularly likes the Red Bull ring, but he definitely has a lot of legs left in the race still to go. 18 laps still to run, and Rene is very close to the back of Henrik Anderson.
Look. It's funny, I was thinking that Rene was still in P16, but that's now taken up by Tobias Trub, who's down the back of the field.
Yes, it is. Marco Honegger is losing. We missed that overtake by Xander Reed, I think. I know we saw it into P2, but I think it was such a good overtake. We'll watch it again as they head up to the position. I was very surprised Marco gave that inside line to Xander. Obviously, Marco thought
definitely yielded there.
Marco thinking he maybe had a better chance at the cutback, but it did not work for him this time around. Lennox Brown though still has a healthy 1.5 second advantage as Xander gets it off track. We do have a few 0Xs out on track, which is to be admired, to be fair. At Red Bull Ring it is so easy to just drop four wheels off the track, especially around turn 1. That is very, very quick corner. You're trying to brake as late as possible, and it's a delicate balance of carrying speed through the corners and being too slow.
I see that Mr. 0X isn't 0X, interestingly. And I'm just curious as to... surprised that someone hasn't had a drive-through yet, to be fair.
They're getting better. Leave them alone.
Just curious.
They're recovering their points.
What are stewards definitely on? Just checking.
It is, but no one's got close to the limit.
So the limit's not 10?
It is 10. Don't forget, it's iRace Control's limit, not iRacing's limit.
No. Well, I'm looking at the number for a certain driver.
It's one further away than it was last lap.
It's okay. Just curious. Oh, of course. Okay, all right. Mine isn't counting down. Yours is.
Oh, because your switch isn't on, is it?
No.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I'm watching. So yeah, once again, we're watching the things that don't work. So just to fill you in, we're both running the same software. They're not connected because internet, and because I don't have Auto Steward on, the incident account that I see doesn't reflect the good driving behaviour. If that makes sense.
It does.
So the one I'm seeing for the particular driver involved, I'm seeing double digits. I'm guessing it's less than that now.
It isn't. No one's got close to double digits.
Okay, yes, what I'm seeing is definitely wrong. So there you go.
That person was on 8 was the worst he had.
Okay, yeah. So definitely I'm seeing them into double digits. So there you go. And we're trying to be obfuscate what we're saying because people listen to the broadcast whilst they're driving.
Especially Marco, who is still
Marco.
trying to come back at.
I'm in P4. I can't get the job done. Honecker, is that the guy?
Yes, indeed. So Kees van Leeuwen is still behind Kwan. Kwan is chasing down Honegger very, very quickly, and Honegger is still chasing down Nestorovic, who did pass Marco Honegger on lap 11, which was almost 16 minutes into the race. Pretty much a carbon copy of how Zandiger passed, except on the next corner in sequence. Marco has had a bit of issues with that corner, to be fair. He has locked up quite a bit, run wide a little bit as well. But Alan Kwan right on the back of Honegger now. Did Honegger have some issue? Doesn't look like it. Amanda Vasquez has a slowdown.
See who is going to have an issue shortly, and that is up the road. Mr. Lennox Brown is going to have an issue with his mirrors being full of Xander Reed shortly. Xander has a bit of a moment actually, but loses a couple of tenths. But as we see this intense battle going on between Kwan and Honegger.
And Case, let's not count on Case.
Oh, Case is just sitting there going, I'll have this, boys, get into it. As we see what's going on. So that so there's a piece of string off the back of Lennox Brown tied to Xander Reed. It's about the 1 second gap at the moment.
Another lock up ahead. Didn't quite see who it was, but it's a danger. Maybe Nestorovic is locking up slightly. Van Duffel has gone off and crashed. That's a shame for Van Duffel. I really want him to just find his groove in this league, because he's very, very quick generally. He's just not having the best of times in the F3, unfortunately.
I've got to say, Tom is another contender for this male model championship.
No, he does. No, I think no. He has to be the boy band championship.
The boy band championship.
He's sitting on the steps, having a good old time. Maybe a pop punk band at a push.
So what you're thinking is, out of this shot, there's a whole heap of security holding back the fans.
Yes, and he's loving it.
Yeah.
But Alan Kwan still can't shake the Dutchman behind in that Ferrari. As Case goes deep on the outside, Kwan cuts back. Both keep it really well on their own lanes, and it looks like Kees van Leeuwen might have the chance to overtake now. Alan does not have any tow from the person ahead, and it looks like it is mostly done, but Alan Kwan's going to send it down the outside. He keeps it just on the apex, very, very close to what could be a penalty post-race, but obviously there's no contact that time around. We do run the rule of, if you're going to go down the inside with a dive, you have to at least keep it pinned to the as close as possible to the curb, or consistently set the same distance from the curb through the whole sequence. But Kees van Leeuwen does get the advantage in the end, which is nice to see some battles going on.
Look, as much as I love a good battle, we're only just over halfway through this race. Is that the smart play to actually be fighting for P5 as opposed to more working together and trying to move your way to the front? As we're watching Frederick Rasmussen all over the back of Jacob Lund Larsen.
To be fair,
battle for P10, P9, P10. He's going to look. He's got the run. Let's see if this move into turn one. Sorry, John, you were saying.
Ooh, that's almost coming together. I was just saying, to be fair, Leeuwen and Kwan were at the front when they weren't fighting, and they didn't find a way past Honegger, and then they just started fighting anyone. Rigtrup in the pits. That is within the window. So, looks like Rigtrup will be the first in sequence pit stop, and we now see Van Duffel as well.
Meanwhile, out the front, Xander Reed has got that gap down to half a second.
You can all change at the pit stop, especially at Red Bull Ring. It's quite a interesting entry to a pit lane, quite easy to mess up.
It is, because you can carry a lot of speed in there. The sun is starting to drop.
Oh, Lennox Brown's in.
Jump in a pit lane.
He does make it pretty much safely.
Tom Lennox Brown. Sorry, not Tom Lennox Brown. Did we see an off track?
There was an off track from Langsted and Vasquez, but no one else.
Okay, I was just going to say if Mr. Reid got an off track, then we'd be looking at that from a tactical off track point of view. But he did not. It's all good. I'll put my steward brain away. So we're lap 16, so we've got 12 to run as the pit stop sequence starts.
There's also a very difficult pit exit. Ooh, he's very close to the line. If that was the FIA, he could have been incurring a penalty. But we'll let it slide.
We might, but iRacing may not.
iRacing did. As it looks like P36 running very slow. What happened to Jürgen? Looks like a little bit slow to get moving again after possibly a spin. This is the danger zone of Red Bull Ring for braking, especially in cars without any ABS. There you go. He was just trying to feather it, so he didn't go on the ABS. To lock up.
Yep, he's carrying too much speed around the corner, catching him out, unfortunately. It's his pit cycle. He's now starting to run through. So Xander Reid staying out, still waiting before diving in.
Yeah, so Scriber versus Rasmussen. Who is going to come out on top? Who else? Have we got anyone else going in the pits? Not just yet that I can see. The top 7 still yet to pit. There comes Frederick Rasmussen actually. Alan Kwan still trying to catch up again to the back of Kees van Leeuwen, who is quite far off Honegger actually. Honegger still wants that position back off Nestorovic. Is he going to have the legs to do it? Nestorovic very, very quick once he get in that clear air, as we saw at Twin Ring last week. I think he's the only double winner this season, if I can remember correctly.
So we've got Rasmussen leaving the pits on this lap, so he's taking his stop.
So Kees van Leeuwen, he just goes a little bit wide. I think he had to lock up, and then he's on the gravel, so he cannot. It's just so hard to get back on a gravel. That's cost him a lot of time, unfortunately, for Kees.
Just having to let the car run there, not able to put the power down as we go on board with Honegger.
He gets an off track. He is approaching the danger zone. At the moment, it's a little bit spread out, but we'll see what happens after the pit stops. Lennox Brown, he decided obviously to call it early. He is currently, let's bring up the gaps. How far behind Xander Reid is he? He is currently 22 seconds, which is enough time, I think. Just about do it. Jacob Larson is in the pits now from P11. So Rasmussen will probably reclaim his position. Henrik Anderson might just be in a position to do it.
So Xander Reid's not setting the world on fire out front. He's not slow. He's definitely, the fastest on track, but he's not walking away from the field. That said, he does have a 6-second gap over to P2 Nestorovic, so but he's yet to stop. So
yeah,
we'll see how things break out.
Marco just is wanting that position back as well, so he's going to keep pushing. Nestorovic will increase the gap between Xander and Daniel, but will it help Lennox Brown at all? And we're all just waiting to see when Xander Reid comes in, because these are all going quite deep into the race. I predicted with the calculations lap 16, and they've gone a lot further than 16.
Yeah, so there's one thing that I'm definitely missing when it comes to this particular piece of software. That's it, because I just fired up the other one, is the race control doesn't tell us who pitted and when they did, which is unfortunate. Why can't we have one piece of software that does it all, John? Why? Tell me.
It's too easy. If you click the third box in the...
I can just look at another piece of software that's running as well, called iRacing Live Timing, and it will tell me.
Yeah, if you click the third box as well, it will filter out pit lane stuff and overtakes.
So let me
Only.
have a look. we're looking at P2. So we've still our current P1 and P2 on track is still yet to pit. So the gap between Reed and Nesterovic is real. The pit out position, which is in mine, which I haven't set up properly, looks to put Nesterovic out behind Tom Lennox Brown. So Tom Lennox Brown being the first of our leaders choosing to pit. So it looks like at the moment, as speaking of pitting, Reed comes in pit lane as I talk about it. Where's he going to rejoin?
Now is the key. Lennox Brown. He is currently down, coming into the second to last corner. Xander Reed is still in the in part of the pit stop. He is in the pit box now. This will be 3 or 4 seconds till he's on the out. Xander Reed coming down this pit straight now, but Xander Reed is now moving. So it's going to be very, very neck and neck as they come out. Xander Reed is on that really tight corner. Lennox Brown, where is he? I don't think he's close enough. Lennox Brown is definitely not close enough, actually. You do find him quite a little bit down. 2 seconds behind him. So, very, very interesting. Let's see what will happen to Xander Reed with Langstead ahead. A slower car, however, he is not a blue flag because he is on the same lap.
So they're battling for position. So this is where the car, let's say Langstead, is under no obligation to let the leader through. When I said leader, I mean the expected leader. But they're actually battling for position. So this is where your pit strategy can hurt you or not. He definitely does not have to jump out of the way.
Langstead hasn't pit though. That is crucial. Looks like Xander Reed's pit stop was 0.3 quicker than Lennox Brown, but obviously the pit. Oh, was that a collision? I think it was. That was a 4X. He has given a position back, I think.
Saying that was a 4X between Reed and Langstead.
Yeah.
Their actual contact.
Yeah, there was. A little bit of a rub.
So I assume that puts some people right up near the limit of a drive-through, as Xander Reed definitely assumes the lead now over Tom Lennox Brown.
Yeah, we did lose 7/10. Whether that's going to come down any further, that is not for me to decide. Nesterovic is ahead of Marco Honegger after the pit stops. I think that was the actual leader. It was Kwan he was battling with last time. But now Nesterovic and Marco Honegger, the battle is back on. Rennie Helmut only in P6. He's just behind Alan Kwan, so anything could happen next week when we head to the Glen for the final race of season 4. So very excited for that final lap. Look at that lock up by Marco as he tries to go around the outside, but I think he's got the inside for the next corner, the next 2 tight corners. Looking good for Marco, good driving there. Nice and safe, and now it's allowed Kwan to get in the mix once again. Kees van Leeuwen off track briefly. He finds himself down in P number 8, so he has lost a lot of time through the pit stop window as Jürgen is in the pits for his mandatory.
So question.
Yes.
Are we going to change the cars to the Formula Ford next season?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not doing skippies.
You know you want to.
So Kees van Leeuwen had a bit of a issue.
Let's go back and have a look.
Let's go back a little bit further. So once again, this corner catching a lot of people out. Locking the car. Looks like Jürgen Richtrup has a meatball, unfortunately. So Kees van Leeuwen, I don't quite know what happened. Did he have another issue right after this? So no, that was completely unrelated. 20 seconds after it, I think going through the S's of Verth. Goes a bit too wide, kind of finds himself on the grass. A couple of people are now close to that magic number. But the previous person closest to it is so far away, he can't even see it.
Oh, good. That's what we want to see. So it's system working as possible. all I can see is a bloodbath of 147 incidents across the field.
So let's bring up the battle box as we head into the mid battle between Nesterovic, Honegger and Kwan. Only about 7/10 split, all three of them. So it's definitely going to be interesting because Marco is going to be getting some draft. Kwan is going to be getting some double draft. And Nesterovic is just hoping he can punch a hole in the air big enough for that car to fit through. Rennie Helmet sets the fastest lap of the race. So Rennie Helmet, 2 seconds quicker than the two people ahead of him. So it's a fantastic lap there. I think he's actually... Yeah, so it's about 400ths quicker than Xander Reed managed to do. Sorry to see you crashed, Jürgen.
Yep, so once again, Salty Toad is typing in chat while he's racing around a P6.
No, he's typing in chat. He's putting an emoji of James Hunt in chat.
I know.
Marco locks up again.
Oh.
He's really struggling through that corner. His tyres must be screaming at him every time he gets there now. Plus, there's not that much reprieve for the tyres around this track because there's a lot of tight corners. The flow is pretty, but the strain is constant.
The strain is real with 4 laps left to go. Maybe 5, depending where you are going around track as our leader comes across the stripe. So let's just have a quick pause and to see where we are. So Xander Reed does a purple with a 124.7, so just definitely not looking after anything out in front. Lex Brown 2.7 seconds behind in P2. Nesterovic 7.5 seconds back from the lead P3. Then we have this battle with Honegger, Kwan chasing Nesterovic down to P4 and P5. As Honegger runs off track, the grass is not the way. Tire dipping will not help you. As Rennie Helmet jumps in the pit now, is this a drive-through?
No, it's a second pit because he had to pit early for a meatball. But look at this, it's all changed up. Alan Kwan has managed to get past Marco Honegger now, so the battles have slightly changed up on track. Alan Kwan now wants that P3 position. Sadly, he can't talk in the booth because his microphone is not responding this week. But let's see what Helmet can do. He's only dropped down a P8. He's got Rasmussen behind.
Yep. So we come down into the corner, coming into Bull's ass.
You can see the difference between the regular F3 drivers and the possibly new to F3 drivers. Rennie Helmut, he was about a tenth of a tyre away from going in that gravel, but using all of his knowledge just to push it to the track's limit, and manages to keep that car going forwards, and obviously gains him quite a bit of time. But how far can he put off? How long can he put off Rasmussen behind? Is going to be the key question.
So there's a battle going on for P3 right now. Alan Kwan setting a PB all over the back of Daniel Nesterovic. Got that gap down to under half a second coming out of the second turn, run across the top of the track. So I think this is where that slower pace and time management, either by choice or by accident by Kwan, is paying off. 3 laps left to go after this one. See, he's all over the back. Nesterovic.
Yeah, so look at that, a really good exit through from Rauch from him and through Verf. But Nesterovic maybe a little bit quicker coming through the S down towards Rindt. But Alan Kwan still piling the pressure on, trying to get as close as possible. This is where the DRS would be amazing.
I was just thinking that if we had DRS, the candy would be taken from this baby. Or, if they're in four-wheeler Fords, this could be amazing.
Does he have DRS?
No, but...
Then no.
I'm guessing Draft City. Because they don't have... So if the Formula Ford is anything like the car that I remember seeing race in real life in Australia, doesn't have any wings, so it, unlike the Skippy that it's going to replace, the Skippy has wings to create draft, so it should not be the draft fest that Skippy was. However, it should not lose downforce through corners. So what that means is that essentially the cars will be able to follow nose to tail, no problem, right around the track. So we should see some awesome close racing with those cars when they arrive in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay, Lennox Brown, he registered an off-track for the software briefly, but it was not an official off-track, it was just a prediction that he was going to go off-track based on car position. Alan Kwan, he's not going as wide as Nesterovic had. Is that costing him some time? Definitely through that corner.
Yes, this gap has sort of grown out. It was down to 0.3 of a second. It's now blown out to 0.6.
And we only have two full laps to go.
Yes, I heard your spotter give you that information.
What?
2 laps to go to the stripe. I can hear someone's spotter talking.
It must be yours, because
Might
mine's
even
are
be-
open.
Might even be mine. See, I've just got him turned down a lot.
Now, Alan Quado, he's still fighting back. He does know how to get through turn 1 very well, and especially going down towards turn 3. He is very, very quick. He wants to get the cut back, maybe a little bit too much curb on the inside, but he's just still better exit than Nesterovic. And now he's going to be in the tow as he races down the hill. We know Alan is smart enough not to be stupid and just go for an all or nothing dive, especially on the penultimate lap. He saves that for the final lap for the cameras.
Yeah, Nesterovic definitely got a bit squirrely under brakes there. I think a little bit too much rotation hurt him on the entry. If you have a bad entry, you're definitely going to have a bad exit. So that's allowed Kwan to get within 0.2.
That's like the motto of eating tacos.
Yeah, it is. What doesn't kill? If you don't get the entry right, it's definitely going to hurt you on the exit. It definitely sounds right, especially with jalapenos and lots of spice involved. Kwan is all over the back of Nesterovic.
As we are officially on the last lap, was Xander Reed flying out ahead once again. Nesterovic goes wide, takes an off track. He's got slow down. Crucially, he has a slowdown. So can he find a way to tactically serve the slowdown, or is Alan Kwan just going to eat him up on the last lap? There are ways to serve it cleverly, and just whether Nesterovic can do it.
There definitely are, and I think
He's not cleared it just yet.
No,
He's still not cleared it. Is he conceding the position? Is he going to try and come back? Nesterovic has cleared the slowdown.
he has.
But he's also
Not
been
the only
cleared
one.
by Alan.
Helmet and Van Saloon also got black flags on that lap. So everyone pushing right to the limit.
One person is two people are an incident away from the penalty, which will have to be applied post-race automatically.
Yep.
At this point in the race. Alan Kwan, what a race he's had. Just played it nice and smooth down in P3, down in P6, and then dropped down to P8. But he's just been very clever the way he's done it.
So meanwhile, out in front, Nesterovic takes the flag.
No, Xander Reed takes the flag.
That's what I meant. My brain got half it right. Xander Reed just dominates with a 6-second lead over that battle for P2 that we're P2, P3 that we were watching with Lennox Brown taking P2, P3 going to Kwan with Nesterovic getting caught out by that slowdown in P4. Marco Honegger coming across in P5. We're now waiting. We can have a cup of tea as we wait for Vasquez to come across in P6. Here he comes. And then we've got this great little battle pack here with Langsteed, Rasmussen, Helmut with a good fight back.
Rennie Helmut, how did he get past? How did he get past?
We go back and have a look at that last little bit with that pack. There's definitely something going on there. If we just quickly roll back and have a look and jump on board. So here we look. Is he already on the move at this point?
Yeah, so he'd already been passed by then. I'm trying to find it in the actual Langsted actually gets past Case van Leeuwen as well. Rennie Helmut gets passed by Rasmussen. So plenty of action going on that last lap that we cannot see. Probably people are ready to interview.
They are. They're already in the booth. So let's see if we can speak to our P3 this time around. Alan, can we hear this time?
Good morning. Hello.
Hey, we can hear you now. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to have to kill a piece of software because otherwise my computer's just going to go nuts because John moves things around. Interesting day of highs and lows for you, I'm guessing. Great battle there at the end, but you just seem to be struggling for a raw pace to stay in touch with the front of the field.
Yeah, look, lots of fast guys joined, and this reverse grid was just rapid. So I started in where I thought I deserved to be, which was like 5th, 6th. And a few people drove off the road in front of me, and I Stephen Bradbury'd my way onto a podium.
For those that don't understand the reference, Stephen Bradbury is Olympic gold medalist, Australia's first in the Winter Olympics who achieved a gold medal by being last and having the entire fleet fall off in front of him and then getting through the gold medal.
Best ending to a race ever. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. It's freaking weird. As a nation, it's just so Australian. So, Alan, coming into the final round of Watkins Glen, you're obviously not going to give away a win if you can get one, but are you thinking about just treat the race as an individual one, or are you actually really got eyes on the championship?
A bit of both. So I don't want my desire for the championship to sort of take away the fun of just a regular race weekend. So I do want to give it my all, but I definitely won't be doing silly sends to cause trouble for others or myself.
So I'm also trying to convince John that we should switch to the Formula Ford next season. Your thoughts?
No bueno.
Okay. All right, there we go. The idea dies on the table straight away. All right, Alan, thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week back. And yes, the F3 is not good anyway. I'm just joking with that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, Alan, bye. Let's quickly put Alan back where he needs to be. Let's bring in Tom Lennox Brown and have a chat to him. So, Tom, congrats on your result in that one. How was that from your seat?
Hi, guys. Yeah, okay.
And welcome, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I think this was. I mean, it was good to get second, but I think this is the most I could have got this evening. I think.
Yeah, Zender's not slow, is he?
No. So, I was fortunate to get P2 in the inverted after having a bit of a dismal sprint. So managed to get Keys off the line, which was nice. Just tried to, sort of stretch a gap into P1, and I saw Xander on the relative, and I could just see him creeping up to me. And my only strat, which I tried to do, was as soon as I could get in the pits, I did. So not to give him opportunity to draft or fuel save, but in the end, it didn't matter because he's rapid. But I enjoyed it. That was a fun race.
So coming into Watkins Glen, any thoughts for the final round of the championship for this outing?
I like Watkins Glen. It's a fun track. I'm just going to try to not die in the inner loop. I think
there is no bus stop this week. Next week, sorry. There's no bus stop.
Oh, it's like the classic one.
Yes, classic boot.
Oh,
It's the Dragfest.
All right. Well, just try not to die in general, I guess then. But I like it. It's a good, fun track. I like the Glen.
So if we swap the Skip Barbers, it would literally be a drag fest, which we will not do that. Tom, thanks for joining us. Best of luck, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.
So let's bring our race spinner, and I'll let you do the honours for this one, John, if you like.
No.
So, as my co-commentator just taps out, Xander, how was that from you getting there for the win? I mean, what turned out to be a dominating performance towards the end.
Thank you. It was interesting after lap 1 with little contact. My steering was bent till the pit stops when I got it fixed, but fun race. Just try to get in a groove as early as I could and just keep pumping laps with the little bit of damage I had.
Yeah, you've I wouldn't say you've upset things, but you've definitely joined and shown the boys that there is definitely more pace to be had. The front of our field isn't particularly slow, but there's definitely always another level. So thoughts for coming into the next round next week, which is at Watkins Glen?
Should be fun. Watkins will be a really fun track to race, especially in F3.
Yeah, no chicane, so it might be a bit of a drag fest, a bit of a draft fest. We'll see how we go.
Well, it'll definitely promote some big sends from far back, but should be a fun race next week.
Yeah, the Glen's always normally good, always puts on a bit of a show. Xander, thanks for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
All right. So now we've done that. John, do you want to take us home, or do you want to sit there in silence?
No, I'm here. So Alan Quad extends his lead at the top now to 17 points going into that final race. It could be make or break for Alan, because if you go off at Watkins Glen, there's not much to save you. Vasquez Jr. only a point behind Rennie Helmut. So very, very, very close to stealing that P2 position at the death. Nesterovic, considering he only joined, I think, Long Beach, maybe? He's impressively all the way up in P4, so he is going to be a force to be reckoned with next week as well. Next season, sorry. But it was some great action out there at Red Bull. It does lend itself to some fine racing. That is for sure.
Safety car did not make an appearance, which was surprising. So it's good.
It is always nice when there's no safety car, because it means our drivers are respecting each other. It's always nicer when people aren't forced to go and take a fast repair as well. Like, mistakes do happen, but it's nice when the flow continues.
Yeah, we only lost 3 drivers in that one with race, which was impressive. Interesting fun fact, just to close this out: the total incident count for Heat 2 is sitting across the entire field at 180x.
Nice.
Speaking of nice, that's going to roll us to the end. We're going to have some nice breakfast, and then moving on to our last round of the season, and then see what goodies iRacing brings us in the toy bag.
Nothing but disappointment and 1 week wonders.
Potentially. We're going to see some new tracks. Hoping for a bit of an early Christmas present, but I don't think it's going to happen. Although I am going to get one, and I'm going to say it because I can, Renee. I'm going to go and watch the Supercars in real life in week 13 and Newcastle, so that will be awesome. But more importantly, looking forward to being back here for another season kicking off in a few weeks' time. So with that, it's goodbye from me and John.
It's goodbye for me. I do want to say Marco is no longer level with a safety car, but the new guy after winning both races is. So he needs one more point next week, and he'll beat the safety car.
Or the safety car can make an appearance.
No. Good night, everyone.
All right.